The disease plaguing Cameroon football has attained a height whereby soccer has become epileptic in the nation. This trend has persisted over a long period that the hour has come for a heavy hand to land a surgical bang on the table for sanity to be restored in this sector. The imbroglio has always produced monsters that fight and leave the sporting public agonizing as the country's image remains torn into shreds. It is time to diagnose and tell who is responsible for dumping Cameroon's football image into murky waters. Let's follow some football pundits on the issue.
Mine is not limited to Fika Food and the LFPC. Mine is the casting of the men who manage the game in Cameroon, because I think that is where the problem is. I don't think that if gentlemen who are passionate about football, who have well-founded soccer knowledge, like Barbarista, Ashu Tanjong, are given the way into this football, they will go there and serve their interest. These are people who have passion. When you give it to people who come there for the money, there is no way you can merge, you can differentiate interest from serving. That is just the problem, because when you go back today and say the text will be revised, they will revise the text and there will always be something that someone can exploit, like you, Banjomo, was telling me in another discussion. So to me, let us give football to people who love football. Football to people who are truly passionate about the game. When you give it to adventurers, you always have this kind of end products. That is as simple as it is. We can go about and talk about FIFA, talk about CAF. Even those at the helm of FIFA and CAF are not saints. They too have their interests that they are looking to protect. That is why they get guys into Fika Food or into whatever who will serve their interests. How do you explain the fact that CAS says Mbonjua should be ousted from Fika Food, and who gives him a cheer of comfort is FIFA's president, who knows that FIFA has an obligation to align to every CAS decision? That tells you that it's all a game of interest. And I was hoping, I am praying that people like you, Jomo Kevin, who love football, who observe football, should not be brought into committees to normalize, and you're giving a backseat, because there you have limits. When people who love this game are given the front seat, we will see the change coming naturally without us crying or shouting.
Until 1992 in Cameroon, officials of Fega Food, president of Fega Food, were appointed by the government. In 1992, FIFA came out with an order that all the officials in all the federations must be elected. At that time, the president of Fega Food in Cameroon was Ouna Pascal, and snap elections were called. He was the incumbent. Snap elections were called, and he was elected as president of Fega Food, the first elected president. He did not run his term. He was ousted by Malady and his team. They came in. Malady was there. After a time, he was ousted by Bipum. Then there was a normalization, which was called Comité Intérimaire de Gestion, CIG. It was headed by Mve Emmanuel Elemba. After him, elections were held, and Onana Vincent came in. He too did not complete his term. He was ousted. When he was ousted, they created something called Comité Provisoire de Gestion.
Provisoire, yes.
Yes. After that, now FIFA came in and created CEP. After CEP, there were elections, and Iya Mohammed came in. Iya Mohammed did not complete his term. Tombi came. Tombi did not complete his term. Njoya came. He did not complete. So since FIFA came in with this thing of elections, there have been total confusion. I think the government that puts in the money and that has the country at heart has a stake in these things. FIFA, for me, is bringing back confusion. Then the way elections are organized, for me, they should organize elections as they do these national elections in the country, after the results, they don't proclaim. They say anybody who has any petition should come up with a petition. You come up with a petition, they see that there was a problem here. And if they are judged that the petition is founded, okay, they send you people, the normalization or whichever committee, back to the drawing board. And people normalize everything, you come back again. This one that they go small thing like that, they cancel election. It's not helping us because even at law there are certain things that are fundamental. There are some that are not fundamental. The ones that are not fundamental, you let go. You just maybe you reconvene the session and they do the right thing this time. So for me, the problem is FIFA.
The problems Cameroon has been facing with football to the extent that we have had what do you call the committees? So many committees to revamp, improve on footballing, decreed by FIFA here and there, can, according to me, be placed on the doorsteps of Cameroon footballers. It is not FECAFOOT, it is not the Ministry of Sports, it is not the presidency, it is only Cameroon footballers. Come to think of the Roger Milla, Bel Joseph, Antoine, and what have you. That is what on which I insist, that the problems facing Cameroon football is from the Cameroon footballer.
What did you expect them to do in the face of all these problems?
Now, what I expect them to do is to take what belongs to them. You cannot go to the Cameroon Council, Medical Council, and see that the president is a lawyer. Or neither can you go to the Cameroon Bar Association and discover that the president is a gynecologist. Footballers must come and take care of football in Cameroon. Listen, when I worked in CRTV in Bafusa many years back, Bel Joseph Antoine was gunning for the position of president of FECAFOOT, and he came there on a tour. He had a communication strategy, well worked out a campaign strategy, and when I listened to him, I was sure that he would be voted president of the federation. But believe you me, he wasn't. This time around, some other people have stood. I think somebody stood against Bobonjoya. This last time, I cannot remember his name.
Bell still?
Yeah, still Bell. But he was not supported. People like late Tato Stephen were supporting Bobonjoya. I think that the footballers, they know the problems of football. If it were medicine, I would say they are the paracetamol of the football headache. But why did Tato not support Bell? Why did he go to support a politician? This is the question we have to start answering. Believe you me, if you were to hand football today to the professionals, all these problems will go away. But you want to answer the question, why are the professionals themselves not doing everything to put together a powerful force which can give them back the football for which they spent all their livelihood developing? I'll try a few reasons. One, I believe that the Cameroon footballers themselves, they are hungry people, like we say in the quarters. Hungry people in the sense that they cannot fend for themselves. So they want to come and join some politician who can give them, quote, this day our daily bread, end of the quote. And I want to think that the footballers should believe in themselves and trust one another. Imagine that people like Bell were supported by people like Stephen Tato and Pagal and forgetting some of these names. But the main footballers that we've known in Anglophone Cameroon,
say the Song Bahanas, the Etos,
the Mbumbu Emil, the what have you. I don't think they will not make a formidable force which nobody can penetrate. But the question you want to ask, why are they playing second fiddle to politicians. It is a shame that up till now Cameroon cannot produce a FECAFOOT president who can be called Michel Kaham, who can be called Roger Mila, who can be called Bubu Emile, who can be called what have you. So I think that football should go back to the footballers. We don't want to make any noise about this. If the footballers are given football, if they could know how to dribble defenses, big obstacles, and score goals, then I don't think it will be more than them to face the out of field obstacles.
Well, my take is that power tussle. And when you look at the power tussle in the Cameroon football landscape, most especially football, because I mean we have handball, athleticism, and the other disciplines in sports, you hardly see this. So the interest in football is growing overnight. And we look at the previous normalization committees or intervention from FIFA and the Court of Arbitration for Sport, you discover that the one this year is unique. It's quite different. What was the origin of this is the tussle, the battle between the professional league and FECAFOOT. General Pierre Semenge and Seydou Bombonjoya, these two gentlemen, they could have fixed this problem even before now. But we discover that while the two are doing some power tussling, they are trying to assure themselves that, hey, I am superior. We've seen where this problem has brought us into. And for the head of state to speak, two things are involved here. The first is that he is coming out as the number one sportsman to say, hey, I am seeing the problem and I've seen what this has cost the image of the nation. And for him calling on all the stakeholders in sport to put hands on deck to resolve the Cold War, the war of words, is the high point. Because the Secretary General and the Presidency has called. At the level of the Prime Ministry, these gentlemen have been called. So if the Presidency speaks now, I mean the one who sits at the helm of power speaks now, calling on order, then I don't think that there is no, this is the final bus stop, whereby we expect that these things should be trashed. It's a shame.
I think that the problem in Cameroon football now stems from 1982. The moment Cameroon got into the World Cup in 1982, and then we started having fallouts of financial benefits from FIFA, problems erupted. Because if you look at the management of Cameroon football in the 70s, in the early 80s, you didn't hear problems. Many people will be surprised that we had people like Sultan Bomonjoya, who were president of Cameroon Football Federation. We had Njikam Jean Braza, who were one-time president of Cameroon Football Federation. Issa Hayatu, one-time president of Cameroon Football Federation. Many people did not hear much about them. But the moment we got into the World Cup in 1982, first of all, Cameroon, as a country that has a history of having gone to the World Cup and did not lost any match in the 1982 World Cup, came back, we started having fallouts from FIFA. That is where problems started. If you look at the reign of after Issa Hayatu, when he had these fantastic elections and went into the presidency of CAF, we started having people like Vincent Onana, we had Pascal Belon, and of course, and then from the 1990 World Cup, 1994 World Cup, when a lot of money came into Cameroon football, problems started. The issue with Cameroon football is management of the resources of the federation. You will recall the scandal of 1994 World Cup in America, where Cameroonian tickets were sold in the black market in Europe and America, with a lot of money coming into the hands of officials in the federation. So individuals saw that, hey, there is a lot of money into the Cameroon Football Federation, and now people forgot about the aspect of football and they are looking for money. So people are fighting to be president, fighting to be vice president, fighting to be secretary general, fighting to be the treasurer of the federation. That is where our problem is coming from. A lot of people are looking at the purse of the Cameroon Football Federation and not the management of football for the betterment of the young people, for the betterment of the game, for the betterment of as a social factor for the betterment of the youths who are supposed to use it as a way of life, as a way of living, as a way of lifting themselves, lifting their families, and lifting their communities. So I think that people have to come into Cameroon football for the love of it and not for the purse of the Cameroon Football Federation. So we have to ask ourselves as Cameroonians, what am I looking out for in the Cameroon Football Federation? Is it to serve the people, serve the young people, serve the game, or look out for the financial benefits that come within the federations? Like you see elsewhere in the world, we saw it in our neighboring country, where people are fighting to get the purse of their football federation. In West African countries that I don't want to call names here because of diplomatic reasons, we have seen presidents demolished from their seats because of financial impropriety. So we should put more concern into the management of the game than the purse of the federation.